Oh, I'm gonna have to pee soon. Hey, it's Sue.
And Megan, the Spine Breakers. And we're gonna do the horror booktube tag, which was created by Hey Little Thrifter.
And we were tagged by Jamie Reeds.
And y'all know we love some horror. So while we talk about the horror,
We don't have a horror themed beer, unfortunately.
we don't. Well, I mean, it depends on which liftoff you're talking about.
That's true. Liftoff Lager. Maybe this is like Event
Challenger.
Horizon. I wasn't gonna go there.
I'm fucked up. That was a tragedy.
I actually thought
It
that,
was a
and I was like,
tragedy.
I'm not gonna say that out loud.
It was a horrific tragedy. But maybe it is like Event Horizon.
Maybe, yeah. Let's go with that one.
We'll go with that one because I'm fucked up. Cheers.
Yeah, this is like, you know,
It's a lager.
easy drinking lager.
It is.
So, the first question is, how and when did you get into horror?
I actually got into horror more from reading it than watching it because I've never been really into horror movies. I've seen a few of them, but like when I was younger, I had a thing with nightmares, and so I never really wanted to watch them. So I was kind of a sissy about it. But I kind of got into horror, honestly, I think with zombie novels. Like I think that's what kind of pulled me into it. Yeah.
For me, I also more got into it through reading. When I was in 5th grade, I met my friend Whitney, and she was super into horror, and I had just never really been exposed to it because nobody else in my family, still to this day, nobody in my family likes horror at all. And she was really into it, and so she kind of more introduced me to it, and I was like, I love this. But I remember reading like Bruce Cobble's Book of Monsters.
Nice.
And she and I like rewrote all the stories in that to be scarier. So like we rewrote the end because it was a kid's book, so like at the end everything was fine. And we rewrote it to be like, and everyone died.
And then Satan came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And books like The Dollhouse Murders, which was like kind of horror. We were like really into that one. And then I also saw sort of my first horror movie at her house, which was the Amityville Horror. I had seen like on TV when I was like a really little kid. I got traumatized by accidentally watching part of Arachnophobia on TV.
Oh God, that'll do
I was
it.
like,
no,
oh,
that'll
look,
get you.
it's the dad from Roseanne. And then I was like, there's spiders everywhere.
That'll do it. That'll get you.
And I remember also really loving Jurassic Park, which is like pretty much a horror movie.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, and I loved it, and everyone else in my family hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
I never thought of it being a horror movie, but you're right. It really is.
So yeah, I was probably, when I like really got into it, I was probably about 10.
About 10.
About 10.
I was a bit older, I think, when I got into it, because like I said, I was kind of a sissy.
Me and Whitney were also really into cryptozoology, which is like kind of
That's a little hoary.
as well.
Yeah.
So we used to read books about like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and the Bermuda Triangle and all that kind
I
of
love
stuff.
that. See, that kind of stuff I was into.
Yeah.
I was really into that. So what was the first horror book that you read?
Probably Bruce Cobble's Book of Monsters.
Nice.
Yeah.
I read a couple of Goosebumps novels when I was a kid. The first horror novel, though, that I remember reading and just like getting really into, honestly, I think was World War Z.
Really?
Which is horror light, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really the first horror novel that like made an impact.
Question 3 is, what horror-related goodness can we expect from your channel?
Well, I don't know if you've seen After Dark.
We need to do one of those soon.
We do.
It's been a while.
Spine Breakers After Dark is a series that we do. We read horror erotica, and we review it and talk about it.
And it's full spoilery, like we just tell you the whole story.
1000%
because,
spoilery.
like, you know, that's
How
the
can you
point.
not? Right. And we costume up for it, and we have the whole aesthetic. So if you want to check that out, that is some horror-y goodness that you can expect from our channel.
Yeah. Also, I've been wanting to do a series that, like, I should have done it already, but I'm so bad about not watching movies. I'm just not a movie person. But I've been wanting to do like a series on the channel where I read books, and I want to do mostly horror just because I think that would be more fun. Or like, you know, sci-fi would be okay too, but like read a book and then watch the movie and then review it, like a book versus movie thing, not a like super original concept or anything. But I just think it would be fun. And I read Firestarter last month, and I've been meaning to watch the movie and do a book versus movie review of it, but I still haven't watched the movie, so I need to do that.
I would gladly do that with you. I think it'd be fun.
Oh yeah, we had talked about doing The Lost World.
We did, yeah.
And then we, again, didn't get around to watching the movie.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen that movie.
That's the second Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
I get the names all mixed up. No,
I've
only
seen the first Jurassic Park.
It's not
That's
great.
the only Jurassic Park movie I've ever seen.
I've seen I have The Lost World. Like, I have that whole, like, trilogy of the first ones. Yeah. So if you want to watch it, I have it.
Oh, okay.
So
I haven't watched the Jurassic Park movie since I was a child.
We should rewatch that, because that one... And we can swoon over Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, his chest.
Do you have any favorite themes or subgenres within horror?
I really like creepy children. I like that a lot.
Is horror comedy a subgenre?
Oh yeah, horror comedy is definitely, that might be my favorite genre ever.
I feel like if Sue were to ever write a book, and I think she should, because I think she'd be really good, she should write a horror comedy. Like, I would read literally anything she wrote in that genre. I mean, in general, but especially in that genre.
Anything like realistic. Like, and to me that means like aliens, robots.
I don't think that's unrealistic.
Like some sort of like disease or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not super into like ghosts or demons or things like that, because to me, it's not realistic, and it's not going to scare me that much. But it could still be a fun, interesting book, I guess. But
everybody knows mine, zombies, but also any plague, like anything plague, like any kind of apocalyptic plague. I'm into it. But yeah, those two things are probably my jam.
All right, number 5. Name an underrated horror novel or author.
Colson Whitehead he's a renowned author, and he's a very good writer. But I don't think is known for horror. But he did write a really good zombie novel called Zone 1. I mean, Colson Whitehead's an amazing writer. And he did a really good job with the fact that it only happened over 3 days. Because it's a 200 or 300 and something page book.
Yeah.
And I never really felt like it was dragging out.
Yeah, I would say
Apocalypse Cow.
Apocalypse Cow. Really funny horror comedy zombie novel.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else that I would say is underrated, because I think that
what about like you really like that Newsflesh series?
I mean, I feel like
I hear a few people talk about it, but it's not like hugely popular.
Yeah, so I would probably say the Newsflesh series. It started out as a trilogy, and like the main group, like the main characters that series is about, have 3 books. But then there's a 4th full novel that follows a different set of characters. And then there's a ton of like novellas and little short stories. And there's this whole like really great universe that Mira Grant created. And it's very diverse. I mean, there's people of color, there's LGBTQ characters in it that are not there just to further the plot. So yeah, it's a really great series, and it's very inclusive, and it's very like kind of zombie novel meets espionage thriller kind of a thing. So yeah, I would think that would be included in that. Sorry, I really love that series. I got really excited. Name an overrated horror novel or author.
I don't think I really have an answer to this. I can't really think of a horror novel or author that I read that's really popular and was like, ugh, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can think of some books I've read that were kind of mediocre, but I don't think they're really overrated, because I don't think many people have really read them.
I think that Stephen King is probably overrated.
I think he is, and like I hate to say that, because like Stephen King is incredibly talented. Like he's an excellent writer.
He is a great author. I think.
He is.
Because I've only read, I mean, I haven't read that much by him. I've read 2 of his books and 1 of his short stories, but I enjoyed them all.
Yeah.
So
I do kind of feel like he phones in his endings, but like he maybe is a little bit. If you're that prolific, I think that at some point
they can't all be gems.
No.
Also, everything he writes gets turned into a movie, which is a little ridiculous.
A little bit.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's bad at all, but he's a little bit...
Well, maybe a little bit overrated, but I don't think, I would definitely not say that he's bad. But maybe just a little bit overhyped. So recommend 3 of your favorite horror novels.
Well, Apocalypse Cow by Michael Logan.
Yeah.
Would be 1. Oh my gosh, I should have prepared for this. 3 of my favorite horror novels. I really love Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. A classic, and it's one of those that, like, when I first finished it, I was like, I wasn't in love with it, but it's like it sticks with you and you think about it and you think about it and you think about it, and then you're like, that was great.
Yeah.
And then World War Z is one of my favorites too. I loved World War Z by Max Brooks. Yeah. Really good zombie novel.
I would second that, but I'm gonna pick 3 separate ones. so I would say Feed by Mira Grant. I would say My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. And then I would also say Bird Box by Josh Malerman.
Bird Box is also great, yeah.
I would say those 3.
Recommend a book for someone who is new to the horror genre.
Hate to keep bringing it up, but World War Z, because it's horror light. Because what it is, it's like a journalistic take on the zombie apocalypse after it's happened. So it's like when we start to get our shit together after things have occurred, this journalist is doing interviews with people. Yeah. And so it's very light. There's not a ton of gore. There's not a ton of like really, really creepy shit. But I mean, it's about zombies. Right. So it's horror and it will make you think.
Yeah. I think it would depend on the person really, like whatever genre they were into already, then I would find a horror novel that fit in that genre also. Because, like, you can find, like, horror, historical fiction that's horror.
Absolutely.
Or fantasy.
That's horror.
Horror. Yep. Even, like, romance.
Totally. Horror, yeah, there's, like, this whole paranormal romance genre that's all about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and even, like, things like literary fiction, like Shirley Jackson.
God, Shirley Jackson, man.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned her yet, but read some Shirley Jackson.
She's great.
Are there any book-to-film adaptations that you loved or hated?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I will say, like, from what I remember as a child, Jurassic Park the film, better than the book.
Trumped the book. I will say that as an adult, yes.
I don't know.
I fucking love The Shining. Like, The Shining is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
That is
I love The Shining.
That's a great movie. I haven't read the book though.
I have read part of the book. I did not love Warm Bodies the film.
Oh, yeah.
As much as I really enjoyed the book. Like, I felt like it was kind of like a heartfelt, warm, fuzzy horror novel, which is so weird, but I feel like the film didn't do it well.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like the film did it in a very almost patronizing way, because I felt like I enjoyed the book quite a bit, which is weird for me because it was very kind of warm.
That's if you're into romance,
and fuzzy. Read Warm Bodies.
Read Warm Bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not into romance, and I loved that book. I really did not enjoy the movie though.
Yeah, I thought the movie was okay, but the book was better. I will say the Swedish film version of Let the Right One In by John, I don't know how to say his name, Ajvide Lindqvist or something.
You do a really good job with it.
I don't know if I'm saying it right at all. But the Swedish adaptation of that film is really good. Child crotch close-up aside.
I borrowed that movie from you and I still haven't watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
And the American version, which they changed the name to Let Me In for whatever reason, wasn't bad, I didn't think, but it wasn't as good. How do you discover new or new to you horror books?
Booktube and Goodreads primarily. I hear about some stuff from Sue.
I like to listen to Books in the Freezer, which is a podcast that Stephanie from That's What She Read does. And she was originally, I think she's still a part of it, but she was originally doing it with The Shades of Orange, another booktuber, but she, I believe, had a baby, so she's been like...
She's busy.
Right.
Busy.
So Devin from Indie Insomniac has been filling in. But yeah, I hear about a lot of horror books from that podcast. It's a really good podcast.
Very
I'll link it below.
Yeah.
Well, link it wherever I can find it.
I need to listen to
I mean,
that.
you can find it on, I listen to it on Spotify.
Oh, that's where I listen to all my podcasts, so I'll have to pull that up and listen to it.
Yeah.
Because I listen to podcasts a lot at work and when I'm cleaning my house. Okay, so what was the last horror book that you bought?
Oh, I think it was in the vintage book haul we did. I know I bought a horror book that was called, it's called Long Dark Night of the Soul by Susan Marvin.
Long and Dark.
And it has a creepy child in it. So, and then the cover looks really cool. So I was like, yes, please.
Yes.
It has 0 ratings on Goodreads and 0 reviews.
Shit. So it's gonna be terrible.
Maybe not.
Maybe
It just
not.
means
No, maybe
nobody's
not. Maybe
read
it's a
it.
hidden gem.
Just
It's a
means
hidden
nobody's
gem.
read it.
I can think of 3 that I bought recently. The one I can think of is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. If you haven't read it, do. It's kitschy and funny and awesome. A couple that I have not read are Body Mortgage. I don't remember who that's by, but I bought it when we went to a used bookstore. And then also that collection of horror stories by women with the cat on the cover.
What was it called?
Oh,
I
fuck.
can't remember.
No.
It had a real creepy cover. I'll
Dude,
try to
it's
find
creepy
it
as shit.
and put it in.
Yeah, but those are my most recent horror purchases.
Number 12. What horror book is at the top of your wish list?
We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix.
I haven't read any Grady Hendrix yet, but I think I'm gonna really like him.
It's
So,
really good. I think you'll enjoy it. I would not recommend My Best Friend's Exorcism for you first because you don't like 80s pop culture.
Oh, okay.
I would
well, that's the one
actually-
I have.
It's really good, but there's some 80s.
Well, I mean,
references.
if there's just some, I just don't like whenever things
Right.
like rely on that.
And it doesn't.
Because like I don't give a shit about the 80s.
No, and I know that. But Horror Store was really fun.
It would be like, cough, Ready Player One, cough, cough.
Oh, Ready Player One. Ready Player One was terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like I will probably want more of his works.
Tag some people.
Tag some people. Oh, who do we know who's like into horror? That hasn't already been tagged. So first we're gonna tag Katie from Chapter Stacks. I think she's on a bit of a hiatus right now,
But when you come back, we would love to see you do this tag. So we're also going to tag Jesse Trafton because
Yes.
they seem to like horror quite a bit. They've recently made a comeback to YouTube, and so we would love to see them do this.
let's also tag Madeline Swan.
Oh, yeah.
I know she reads like bizarro stuff, but I feel like there could be some horror crossover.
Bizarre
a lot
horror, yeah, for sure.
there. Yeah, so we're gonna tag all those people, and also like
If you like horror, or if you
into
want to
horror
try
and
to
wanna-
read some horror, maybe give it a go and do this tag.
Yeah. Let us know what you think of our answers.
What are some
If
of
you
your
haven't-
favorite horror
if you have any
books?
horror recommendations, because I kind of like, I wasn't reading a lot of horror for a while, and I'm kind of like feeling like I want to get
Some
back
horror?
into it.
See, I felt like I needed like a minute because I read some really dark shit, like just on
Yeah.
repeat, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was looking through
Horror's a
my
lot to read.
read books for this year, and like I've read some dark stuff this year. So, but I do every October try to read only horror and like really creepy books.
Yeah.
So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them.
Yeah. But I've been getting a lot more into horror books and movies again. I'm going to see, Sunday we're going to see, me and Whitney are going to go see the new Chucky.
Are you?
The new Child's Play movie. Which I'm hoping is good. It could be interesting because now he's like connected to the cloud or whatever. So
That's
they're
gonna
like
be weird.
So they like
Yeah.
updated it to fit with like modern times. So it could, because sometimes I get tired of just remakes. I'm like, is this really necessary? But since they added like a new element to
It might be
I'm
fun.
hoping it might be cool.
Yeah. I want to read, or I want to watch some of the classic like horror movies. I watched
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. I
Evil
fucking
Dead's a
love
great
Evil
one.
Dead. I love it
It's
so
great.
much. The last like legit scary thing though that I watched was The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, like the show.
See, it didn't really scare me. It destroyed me emotionally.
No, I was ruined emotionally,
but
but
it
like
didn't scare me that much.
I sobbed. And then also the Ben Necklety episode.
Really? The thing in that movie that creeped me out the most was the man with the
hat that just floated.
Yeah.
That was creepy
For some
as
reason,
shit,
that
too.
man really creeped
Oh my
me
god.
out.
But no, that yes. But also the Ben Necklety episode, I couldn't sleep for like 2 days.
I almost would like to go back and see if I can see all like the hidden ghosts and stuff, but also I'm like, I don't want to go through that emotionally again.
We should watch it with like the brightness turned up,
Oh, yeah.
so we can see all the ghosts and just like vlog us watching it and just like cry and eat ice cream, because that's what it is.
Just a vlog of us sobbing. Anyway, we should probably sign off.
We're just talking. So anyway, let us know your favorite horror books. We need some recommendations,
Yeah.
and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.